Where the bloody hell have you been?
Toilet?
Toilet? What do you mean, toilet?
Hey guys, welcome back. Joe again here from Their World Aquatics, and here we go, part 7 of the Ornamental Pond, and finally, it's time to put in that piece of glass. Let's get into it.
Hallelujah!
Alright guys, so I stopped recording because obviously I didn't want to bore you too much. There it is. You can see I've got a working platform down there so that we can stand on there tomorrow. Alright, so I just threw some 2x4s and 2x6s together. Obviously it's not pretty. It's just going to be there for hopefully a couple hours. Just enough so me and the guys have somewhat of a working platform to do what we got to do. So there's obviously some cement blocks down there and I had to move a lot of stuff around, but I think it's going to do the job. Got the back of it locked in down to the ground, or some cement block. That glass is heavy. I mean, we need a little bit of room to do what we got to do. This had to be done. I couldn't think of any other way to do this. This bad boy is heavy. Matter of fact, the weight of this glass, I'm going to look up right now, throw it on the screen, because I remember we had 4 guys that put this here about a year ago. It's been sitting here waiting for this day. So yeah, we'll pick this up and get it in position tomorrow. And as you can tell, the glass has not been installed yet. We got hammered once again with some rain. Sunday morning early, the storms came in and they have not let up until probably about 2 hours ago. So as you can see, the bottom of the pond is filled once again, to the point I'm going to have to break out the hose and the pump and drop this down because our deck is hiding way up underneath there. But I tell you what, this has happened like 15-20 times now during the construction of this pond, and it like kind of dawned on me a couple days ago. I'm like, well, wait a second. So what's going to happen when this thing's completely filled with water and we get hit with some rains? Where the heck is the extra water going to go? That being said, I was thinking, well, maybe I can put like an emergency overflow, like drill out the back of the skimmer box and then have another hose connected somewhere back here and route that around backside where the motor and the pump filtration system is at. But I'm wondering still, where would that water go? Because the way this whole thing is kind of built, you know, we've got this retaining wall around the perimeter of the pond. Granted, once this is all done, everything you see here, everything gets completely stone veneered, and then there's going to be a sandstone capper on the top of the walls all the way around the pond. Got kind of like a bathtub thing going on here, where there's really no way of just kind of throwing a pipe on the ground. So I'm really going to have to think about this one, where we could put some form of an emergency overflow at. Motor and the whole filtration system is going back here, the GC-TEC. Now, even if I use the skimmer box as like the emergency overflow, I'm still not quite sold if that's going to be the answer or not. The other possible thing is somewhere here I could put a sensor, kind of like for some of the other systems that we have. Once you get to a certain height in a sump, it would pick up a high level alarm, turn on a motor, then it would start pumping down. So you definitely need to look into, because once we're at the new and fixed elevation, which is going to be right up here somewhere, I mean, it just takes one good hard rain and this whole thing could overflow and work its way into the side area of the pond, and probably, I don't know where the water would go, but it would go somewhere that we don't want it to go. So we're going to be looking into that. But other than that, hopefully here by the end of the week, we'll get the guys to come over and we will set the glass. A couple of things I just wanted to point out real quick, because obviously I definitely cleaned up this inside of the 3x3 angle iron that, you know, we made this last summer. So I went ahead and literally scrubbed it down, had a straight edge, kind of scraped off any excess, you know, little bubbles or little tips or anything that was just maybe hanging out a little bit. There was some concrete dust and some stuff that dried from one of the concrete pours. So bottom line is, this thing is really, really clean right now, where we are going to apply the silicone. Now, what I will do is in the final seconds, we will probably wipe this down with some rubbing alcohol just to get any leftover residue that is on there. So the pads are in position so that we can lay down that piece of glass. And then the other thing I wanted to point out real quick is everybody knows exactly where to put, you know, their silicone. So I marked off 3 inches right here from the edge of the glass, so they know right up to the tape where they got to apply the silicone. I don't want somebody getting all crazy and, you know, they got marks everywhere. So we've got an edge around the perimeter of the glass, and even this got wiped down with some rubbing alcohol, so this is pretty much ready to go.
Float out here and float in there. My glass of wine. Float out here and float in there. My glass of wine. Float out here and float in there. My glass of wine.
I could see you doing that. That's funny.
Three-quarter really here.
You got about 7/8.
See, I told you 7/8.
Jesus, koi pond, yeah.
So there it is, guys. The glass is finally glued in after what feels like 2 years of kind of coming up with this whole concept of a piece of glass on a wall and making a crazy looking ornamental pond, kind of like the infinity look. So hopefully this looks pretty good here in another couple of weeks. But we've got bracing all the way around the perimeter, and we've got it locked into the backside of the pond. That was kind of tricky because there's, you know, obviously there's nothing back there to really grab. Everything's all different lengths. Almost kind of have an issue because we noticed that the side right over here was nice and flush, but for some reason it just kept on, like it was getting wider down here. So we kind of had to pull things off, and we had to make the shims, which you might not be able to see from this angle. It's not so much the wooden shims that you're seeing there. It's the plastic ones that are up underneath the glass. We had to raise up this side of the wall a little bit higher because it was kind of hitting the bottom radius inside of the 3x3 angle iron. That might be kind of hard to explain, but or understand. But like I say, it was down too low, so we had to raise this up. And by raising it up, it had the ability to walk in tighter. So whatever case, we've got it in. We're going to go ahead and let that set up for a couple of days. I got the big old piece of blue tape X there in the center because I know what's going to happen. I might forget about it and try to walk right in. So, all right, there it is. We are one step closer on this crazy looking ornamental pond.